I've been thinking about change lately. We all go through it at various points in our lives. Some changes are small, some changes are major, some changes are planned, some changes are unexpected, some changes are good, and some changes are bad. But we all go through changes. Personally, over the past several years, I've noticed that I often don't do so well with major changes. They can often bring up anxiety and stress in me. And I know that many of you can relate to that. For me, since my injury, I've had major issues with remembering things prior to my injury. To be candid, I've lost most of them. This affects me when it comes to big changes because it brings about somewhat of the fear of the unknown. Since I cannot remember many of the experiences in my past, I don't have them to relate to things that are coming up in my future. For me, I have the experiences and the growth from these memories, but I can't think back on them to give me a perspective for the future, if that makes sense. I'll give you an example. While in my teens, I played competitive soccer. Because of the sheer amount of time that we would practice every week, I gained a lot of skills. The skills then carried on to when I was in college and played on the college team. But the memories of playing competitive prior to that are mostly gone. I have the skills and the experience, though I cannot recall the memories of how I learned them. My intuition is there even if I can't think back. This example spreads into every area of my life. So when change comes, it is often a big unknown to me because of this. But even with my injury and the anxieties that come from a result of it, it's still a good thing. It causes me to have to trust in God, not trust on myself and my own planning. I used to idolize my mind and my ability to remember everything. If you would have asked me when I was the age of 17 how my life would go for the next 10 years, I would have been able to give you my plan. The direction was pastoral ministry, and I could have given you my details in that planning. But guess what? Not a single thing went according to my plan. Why? Because changes took place in my life that I couldn't have expected. Because here's the thing, it doesn't matter how much of our life that we try and plan out, not everything is going to go according to those plans. James gives us a warning of this when he speaks about plans and changes. He says, "Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go into such and such a town and spend a year there and trade and make a profit. Yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that appears for a little time, then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that. As it is, you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. So whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin." James is pointing out that we can try and plan out our lives, but we don't know the future. One could strive to work his way up to becoming a CEO of the company, but while doing this, the company could file for bankruptcy. A woman may strive to be an Olympic athlete and may have the potential to be one, but then she injures herself and that chance is now gone. They had plans, but changes happened that ruined those plans. It is as James says, "You do not know what tomorrow will bring, for you are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes." We don't know the future, so how can we plan out our lives as if there's going to be no change to it? What's more, James points out that we're just a breath in the grand scheme of everything. The universe does not revolve around us. Change will happen, and there's often nothing that we can do about it. So is it wrong to make plans? Of course not. In fact, one might say that it is foolish to never plan anything. For example, if you never plan anything out, how do you expect to survive financially? Planning is a good thing, but the problem is, it can easily become an idol. That's why James continues by speaking about boasting. It's easy to boast if you think that you have your life figured out, if everything for you is planned out. But what James is saying is that you really don't have your life planned out because you don't know what's going to happen to you. You do not know what tomorrow will bring. And so though you plan and you plan and you plan and you boast that I have my life all figured out, the truth is you don't. Because in an instant, things can change. So that boasting is futile. It is worthless. Plans are good, but if we hold on to them too strongly, we end up idolizing them. When change comes and know that it is from God, we need to submit to His will. And not to our own plans. That's why James says that it's better to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this and that. But maybe you don't have a plan for your life, because you don't know what God wants you to do at this point in your life or even in your future. And I think that far more often people fall into that category than the other. Well, the same principle is true. Trust in God and be submissive to His will. He will reveal it to you in His timing. So when the changes come, be ready to follow God's will. And this can only come through spending time with Him in His Word and in prayer. So, why am I talking about change? Well, a big one has taken place in my life. I'm moving. I am packing everything up, packing up my family, and moving on to the next chapter in our lives. I have accepted an associate pastoral position at a church in a different city, and that is where we are headed. And we are excited for it and excited for what God has in store for us. But that means that this is, well, the last video that you will see with this set. Well, with all of the sets. I'm taking them down and packing them away. Perhaps I will revive some of them and probably create new ones. I don't know, because I don't know what the future holds. But even though I'm going to be taking all of this down and that I'm going to be moving to a very different place, I do know that this channel is not ending. I am taking all of you with me. Like I say in my promotional video, come along on this adventure with me. And boy, what an adventure it has been so far, and what an adventure it will be as we continue on wherever God takes us. A lot of changes are going to be taking place in the coming weeks, and I don't want you to miss it. So, why don't we get started? There you go. This is my new office, where I'm going to be for the long foreseeable future, and I'm excited for what God has in store for me and my family, as well as this ministry. But I got still a lot more work to do, so I'm going to leave it off there. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, give this video a like, and until next time, remember to know the word, do the word, and share the word. But as always, we do it in love.